am a little discombobulated, and I will show you why. Yeah, I'm not on record. I'm on Restream. I'm on live. Okay, so we've got this going on. My new lights, which I absolutely adore. The guy's texturing. He just left, and he is going to come back after 1 o'clock to finish up. I went at store yesterday, and that kind of was a whole epiphany. What John wants me to do is actually put together a presentation on the thoughts that I went through in getting this whole thing pulled together. He would prefer that I don't cherry pick and say, well, I did this and I went that. But I will tell you one thing. I did, when I went to the cabinet store yesterday, I realized that unless I'm going to go custom, that was not going to work because I love my big island here. I love it. And it's basically two doors that are put together, and it would become much, much smaller if I did it that way. So just trying to, think everything through. I do have, okay, the lights are done. I've got a painter light lined up. And then after that, I'm going to do the floors. And then I still yet don't know what's going to happen with this middle table, other than it's not going anywhere. And then back in this area here. So Lilo has been absolutely fabulous, fabulous working with me, helping me sort through everything. Now, what I would like you all to just go grab a pencil and paper, all right? Because what we're going to be doing today is going to be housed in a different place on the website, all right? I just love seeing everybody here from everywhere. I love it. I love it. Let me see. Yes, North Dakota. Is it cold up there, I wonder, right now? It's going to be beautiful here. Please, please, God, let it rain this weekend. They're talking about it, and man, I just hope so. It is so bad here, So, okay. So, got a pencil and paper? If not, you can come back and listen to this. For those of you that are new to this game, these are all done live, but then we put them in a recording area where you can go watch. All right. So let me put on the camera so you can write this down. Document camera. Okay, so what you're going to do is on the front page. This is for something I'm going to show you that I have for you to download that you can print out. You're going to go to Learn. Then you're going to go to My Classroom. Hey, Sue. And then you're going to go under My Classroom. You're going to find Miscellaneous Classrooms, because we have to figure out where we're going to park these different things that I'm doing. I mean, this isn't spinning spools. It's not fabric. It's actually magic numbers is what you're looking for. And I'm going to be teaching you how to make quilt blocks different sizes. Okay, Miscellaneous. And then the document tab. And that's where you're going to find this, which I will talk to you about a little bit later. I want to tell you that I didn't flunk geometry, but I almost did. I begged the teacher to pass me, and then I would take it again. I got algebra. It's like you get one or the other, but geometry was really hard for me. And it's interesting because that's kind of what we're going to be doing here, but I hesitate to use words like drafting or like this or like that, but I'm going to hopefully pin on some angel wings. What's up, John?
You can also type magic numbers into the top.
Okay, you can also type in the top search bar magic numbers, and it will take you there too. And go to the Learn tab. I'm learning the site too, all right? John was much more involved, well, completely 100% involved in the reconstruct, and I just kind of sit there and follow along. All right, so I shared this before, and a while back, and I wish I had saved the letter, it was an email, and a person said, I have a 6-inch 9-patch pattern, and I don't know how to do it in 9 inches. I don't know what to cut. And I almost got ill with that because we had to always draft our things out and come up with the cutting numbers or come up with the templates or whatever. And we didn't have like these recipes that you're being handed left and right everywhere, where you don't have to think, you just have to read and cut what it tells you to read. All right, so I want to take you through the very basics of this and what my light bulb moments were there. So back in the day, this might have been closest to one of the very first books I purchased, and it was Document. Come on, little guy. There we go. It was this by Jenny Beyer. Probably a lot of you have it. I mean, this was manna. This was complete manna. And so more than 750 geometric designs. Okay, yay. We'll get to Barbara Brackman's in a little bit. And I'm wondering, this was the hardback, $16.95. Can you even imagine? Well, the thing, autograph, Jenny Beyer, my hero. The thing that was so great about this book, trying to see when it was, 1980. Yeah, it would have been one of the first books I bought. One of the great things about this book is it came with this see-through overlay. And so as you looked at blocks in the book, you would find out which overlay went on it, so you would know how to draft it, how to draw it. So let's take a look at the first one I have figured out here. Look at this. She had all this in here. And I remember Ginny was one of the first ones that learned how to use a computer to plop fabric in place. Okay, so here, let's just take the simple bow tie, all right? So okay, which of these overlays fit on it? Well, it's a 4-patch, okay? So that's pretty easy. Now, what about this here? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's my guess it would be the 4-patch, which is right here, all right? This was monumental to me because, like, if I put the 5-patch up here, it is not going to work. So the point is that when you look at a block, the first thing you have to figure out here is, what are the inch increments that this all is based on? Now, we know in quilting, we pretty much work with 1/8 inch increments within your ruler, right? So you might cut things 1 1/8, 1 1/2, 1 3/4, etc. That just is, all right? Especially when you get into rotary cutting. I got to tell you, I'm not nervous about this, but I'm a little nervous about this because I've actually never taught this before. You are my virgins. All right, so then let's go to, I went and pre-picked some things. Let's go to this one. Right here, bachelor's, no, that's not the one I wanted to do. I want to do the one next to it. This one here. Nope, that's not the one. This is the one I wanted to do. Ducks and ducklings, right here. Okay, I look at this and I don't quite know what the breakdown is, all right? With this, I can put, and you aren't going to be able to get this, but I'm just walking you to how I got to what I'm teaching you. I'm going to try the 9-patch. No, that doesn't work. 36 squares in there. Let me try the 5-patch, which has 25. That's it. That's it. So when I go to draw this to figure out the different manipulations, I know I'm going to have to start with a 5-patch grid or 25-patch. All right. So I'm going to set this aside. Let's see what this one is for fun. What is this one? This is Premium Star. Well, it's not that one, because you can see the lines aren't lining up right. Is it a 5-patch? Yeah, it's a 5-patch. It's just that within this group, you're going to make this, and within this group, you're going to make this. So you have to be able to look at it and assess what you're looking at, okay? So let's go over to Barbara's book. Barbara Brackman's book. Let's look at this one here, like ducks and ducklings. Well, it's not a 9-patch. These are not equal things. In fact, I've given away what it is. But let's say I didn't have the overlays. What I would do is I would say with like my friction pen or something that will disappear, I would say, okay, I'm going to draw some lines on here. I mean, this will go away when I hit it with my iron, right? So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. And I can see it's a 5-patch. All right? Just by following some of the lines and seeing where they go. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I have to consider how big do I want to make this block. All right? So I have decided, just to make it easy, where the heck is it? It's over here. To do the 5-patch in 5 inches. If I wanted to do the 5-patch bigger than 5 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we know that fits in beautifully. I have to work with numbers that 5 will work into. So let's say I wanted to do it in, let me get out. Oh, here we go. Don't want you looking at that stuff. Personal messages. Let's go to my calculator. Clear. Okay, I want to make it bigger than 5 inches. Let's say I want, okay, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I want each section to be 1.5 inch. So I could go 1.5 times 5, and it's going to be a 7.5 inch, I'm sorry, 7.5 inch finished block. You always do it in finished, and then you add stuff later. Let's say I wanted to do it, I wanted these squares to be 2 inches. 2 inches, okay? I think we'll be able to get that one. 2 times 5 is 10 inches. And so you've got to figure out what will fit into what. And so I've drawn this 5-inch square out. The paper that I'm using, I have a tablet of it, is this stuff, and it is Canson. All right, I don't even think we have this in the store. It doesn't matter, but it's Canson. Here, well, you have to. Trust me, it's Canson. And what I like is that there's a dark line. Okay, a dark line, and then this is all divided into 8s. All right, there's a thinner line. If I get it up closer, you can see. There is graph paper available where there's like 4 or 1, 2, 3, yeah, in quarter inch increments, not 1/8 inch increments. I prefer the 1/8, although now with magic numbers, it's not so important. So let's get that in. The other thing, come on, little guy. Okay, the other thing is I do use a drafting ruler. And actually, when we started rotary cutting, this is what we use. It's amazing we have our fingers intact. The reason I don't use my regular ruler is because it's fatter, all right? Now, it's fatter. You want this like this. So let's do duck and ducklings, and I already forgot what it looks like. Let me open this back up. Let's take a look here. This book is so beautiful. It's so beautiful. We're going to go here, all right? It kind of is like a churn dash, right? But it's off a little bit. Oh, I wanted to show you one other thing. I am interviewing Barbara this afternoon, and we'll play it on Monday. In the first book, everything was black and white, all right? And in this book, things are in color. And this is how I fell in love with the block for spinning spools. I couldn't see it like that, but I could see it like that. All right, so leave that over here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw. If I had a pencil, I probably would rather use a mechanical pencil if you want to get right down to it, because you can even get a finer line. You know, when we play with magic numbers, it's not so important, but sometimes you're going to end up with odd shapes that you're going to have to make a template out of, and you want that line to be as small as possible, or as fine as possible. Here's this. I like to avoid templates at all costs, but guess what? That's not the way the world is made in the world of quilting. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a line across here. Okay. I'm going to do a line across here. I'll bring back the book in a moment. I will do a line across here and a line across here. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this here and this here. Oh, I'm doing this right? Yeah, I am. And you can see a mechanical pencil would be easier to erase, but boy, I love these friction pens. Okay, you can see the block starting to come to form. Is that right? Yeah. And there we go. All right, so we've got this. 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 Is that right? Yeah, we got this, this, and this. All right, let's take a look-see. Did I nail it? Yes. Okay. So in the olden days, what we would do is we would then take our ruler and draw a 1/4 inch like this, a 1/4 inch like this, and like this, and then we would cut our template at that size. Gross. Okay, so now we have what I call magic numbers. And the first, I wish I hadn't done that. Oh well. Well, I am goofing this up. Okay, let's look down here. The first thing I want to do is I want to assess what kind of triangle this is. All right, we're getting into magic numbers. And again, you can print this out. This is actually from my Simply Stars class. Oh wait, let's start up here. When you have a square, you take the number and you add a 1/2 inch to it. So a 1-inch square would be cut at 1 1/2. So in the case of these squares, you got squares here, 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 here. What I do is I go like this. I go 1 1/2 square. And I know then that's what I'm going to be cutting those things at. But now when you go to triangles, there's two different kinds. They look the same in as much as they both have a 90-degree, but they're at different places. What we've got going on here is we've got a 1/2 square triangle right here. And I know that I want this outside edge on straight a grain, like that, and this on the bias. So here's my 90. I'm going to take this. You always take the finished measurement. The finished measurement here is 2, right? So if the magic number is 7/8, I'm going to cut this 2 7/8. And then for my own edification, I go like this, and I know it's a 1/2 square triangle. So when would you use a 1/4 square triangle like this? Well, what you want here then is you want the outside edge to be on straight a grain, and so the interiors will be your bias. I might use this for, like, let's say broken dishes or something like that, which is essentially almost this. I always want the outside edge on the straight of grain. If you used this, which you could, because here's the 90 and here's the 90, you're going to end up with all of this bias out here. And that is a disaster in the making. And in fact, Dee's class tomorrow, I believe you're doing pineapple, and you paper piece it because you do end up with outside edges on the bias, and that is a super disaster. So another thing that can happen, let's do this. Let's say I've got a 3-inch block, and I didn't practice this, so this is going to be interesting. Let's say I've got a 3-inch block that has a square on point in the middle. I think I'm doing a pretty good job at this. My critics will tell. Okay. So if I want a square on point, what I would do is I would find the center of this 3 inches, which is 2.5. I'd make a little point. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then I would draw from here to here to here. See, this one down here, I could really figure it out without even using drafting paper. This square on point, I couldn't. All right, so I could either paper piece this if I wanted, which you just draw it out and then you sew on the lines, or I could make, well, okay, here's the part I'm worried about. This I will cut at 2 7/8. No, I'm sorry. Oh, that's not right. It would be 1.5. 1.5 plus 7/8. 7/8 is what, you guys? I'm doing a brain fart. This is how I do it if I can't remember. 1.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 3/8. I should know that. 2 3/8. And then I go like that. And then again, I know these are half square triangles out here. But let's measure this here and see if it ends up something odd. I actually don't like this particular exact ruler because it's in weird numbers. Oh, okay, there's angels up above. Because this square measures at 2 1/8. Okay, so I'm going to add for a square a 1/2 inch. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would be 2 5/8 square. There are times when it does not come out to the exact eighth, and that's when you have to make a template. And that's when it goes back to, taking this, drawing a 1/4 inch on each side, cutting out the template, and there you go. So I really, really hate to use the word drafting because it's scary to me. And if you have a block that you love, try drawing it in another size. Now, something else about Barbara's book that I think is really clever is that here you have your duck and ducklings, and then she takes blocks of this construction, basic blocks of this construction, and then she gives you other minutiae that can be done with it. So see, isn't that cool? Now let's take a look at this one down here, all right? And I hope I'm not getting too nerdy for you. All right. This one, this big one here, I would want cut on this way. So that would be a 90. So that would be your add 7/8. Oh, this one down here I would too. I'd go on the 90. So that's plus 7/8. If I had a triangle that's on the outside edge, and I would add 1. If I have this sort of one like this, you take the finished measurement and you add 1 1/4 to it. All right? Does this make sense? Like I said, I haven't done this before. Does this make sense? Oh, Lucille, I remember you. You took my start class in Door County and still have the handout. That's funny. Yeah, if you want to improvise, this is the way to do it. And I will tell you, There's magic numbers for diamonds. There's magic numbers for, remember when Dee, what she did last Saturday, the isosceles triangle and the square, there's magic numbers for that. I know I have beginners here, and I just wanted to condense it down to understand that you are not at all stuck by patterns. You're not at all. Now, I will tell you one other thing. People want the pattern to my universe quilt, and the trick with that was that one block was a 9 patch and the other was a 4 patch. And so actually John had to figure out the math, because they're not like a perfect 4-inch square or whatever, because the two sizes didn't jive. So there's ways around it. I know one time I was making a quilt, I could not figure out the math, and I called my dad over, the engineer, and he looked at it and he goes, it can't be done. So it can be done if you want to use templates and stuff like that, but just with the basics. Okay, follow your drawing on EQ. Barbara just said that. Yes, and that's one of the things that we'll be talking about with Barbara Brackman on Monday. Not only does she have this beautiful new book, but she has she's coupled with EQ, and they have a new program. Oh, and guess what? Someone's going to win that. We have one to give away. And so I'll give you more information on that on Monday, but I want you to have wings. I don't want you to have constraints, okay? I want you to know that you can look at something and say, hey, I don't want to do it in that. And back to that poor lady that couldn't figure out a 9 patch. All you do is you draw the block and add the 1/2 inches to it, and that's it. That's it. And if you get on your ruler and you can't do the math, like I couldn't just do it, just get the finished size and then count the numbers down the way. You don't even have to do the addition. Just remembering that these are in 1/8 inch increments. So confusing. Leela, it is confusing. Watch this a couple times. I want you to draw out a star block and then just look at it and see. And even if you say, I'm never going to do this, you need to understand that there is a concept behind this and math behind this. All of this math is based on if you're doing a 1/4 inch seam. That's kind of important, okay? All of this math work is that. And you take, some people say, okay, if this is 10 inches, this is 5 inches, and let's say I want to make it to 10 inches. I don't know about this, but you can't just double it. And that was a misconception that I had. If I had to cut, this at one size, I can't just say, oh, well, I'm going to do X and double it. You really need to understand the gymnastics of being able to do it. So New Zealand, hey, I am getting questions for John for next Friday for Ask John. He thinks it's really stupid, but you're coming up with really good questions. And the basics have been covered, like how did we meet? What did he do? This and that. I've had some questions about things on the site, which I think he would be very happy to answer. So on Monday, we're going to have Barbara Brackman. I'm going to do a pre-record with her in an hour and a half. I just don't trust the system enough to not have it pre-recorded. And then Wednesday, we're going to start spinning spools. And what I'll do is I'll get you cutting on Wednesday, and get everything pre-prepared. And then John's going to do his jam on Friday because I'm going to be in Joanne Sharp's class. And then on Monday, we'll do something else with spinning spools. What you need to know is for the next the next month, it could be chaos in here. And even if there's guys working in here, we're just going to have to work around it, okay? I don't think you'll mind. So, okie dokie. John, are there any other questions? I'll tell you what, Marilyn, Jane, you would love more. Yes, we can do more of this. And what's going to happen is we're going to have projects that we're working on, but like spinning spools, there's not that much to teach. I mean, you're going to go this and grunt them out and do this and grunt them out, but we can't finish it in 2 weeks. We just can't because of your time, because of the store's time and all that. So I'm going to have little sniglets in there in between of stuff you might want to know. Like I thought one thing I could talk about would be pre-washing. I could talk about other shapes like this in drafting, like diamonds or the isosceles triangle and the square. That's a tricky one. So, okay, I think You got your spinning spools fabric yesterday, Jane. I would consider pre-washing it. And yes, it is lovely. Rondi's went out and picked hers up at the store too, and she said, "Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful." So today is Friday, tomorrow's D, and I think it's the last block in the quilt you're working on. And we still do have those patterns available, long time gone. And then she's going to spend a while, not a while, but how to put it together, things to think about quilting and all that kind of stuff. And we're already gathering fabric for her next project, and it's beautiful. In fact, you'll see a sneak peek of that. John and I went out and did a tour of the place. So, and I go, "What's all that for?" And they go, "D." And I'm like, "Oh, it's gonna be good." So, okay, you guys have a great day. I'll see you on Monday with Barbara. And I just don't want you freaked out when you look at a pattern. Jody says, "This is one of the things that your high school math teacher was talking about, using math the rest of your life." Exactly. Exactly. And I'm sitting there going, so I have to tell you a cute story. When Joey was in third grade or whatever, you have to do the parent teacher conference. And he was just a good little kid, and maybe it was second grade. And the teacher said, "Well, there's two things I'm concerned about. He cannot tell time, meaning like on how we use them, like an analog, and he can't count money." And I said to the teacher, "Those are two things I am not worried about at all." Okay, at all. Everybody can count money and everybody can tell time. I mean, everybody. So I agree that these are one of the things when they said you're going to use it sometime, and it clicks when it becomes important to you. All right? Have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing because this room is trashed. Have a good one. Bye-bye.